Welcome to Life Beyond Conviction, where we redefine reentry one story at a time. I'm your host, Ed Bankston, father, barber, advocate, and someone who's lived on both sides of the system. Today's episode is about one of the biggest obstacles in the reentry space, bridging the gap between compliance and authenticity. Often, when the numbers drive the mission, people get left behind. But what if the very people the system was built for were the ones designing the blueprint? In this episode, I'm going to break down how we can build a new model for reentry, one that puts lived experience at the center without sacrificing accountability. But first, a word from our sponsors. This episode of Life Beyond Conviction is brought to you by the Knights of the Razor LLC, a brotherhood and barbering organization where tradition meets transformation. We're more than just cutting hair. The Knights of the Razor is a movement dedicated to educating barbers, clients, and communities on the rich, often untold history of the barber craft. From its roots in ancient healing and self-determination to its role in the modern reentry space, barbering has always been about more than hair. Whether you're a student of the blade, a seasoned professional, or someone rediscovering purpose through the chair, the Knights of the Razor honors the past while shaping the future. Join the order, learn the history, master the craft. Our next part, the problem when compliance becomes the priority. Okay, let's be real. The reentry space is a numbers game right now, y'all. Most of the services that exist are funded through grants and government contracts, and those contracts come with conditions. How many clients did you serve? How fast did they get housing? Did they stay employed for 90 days? But the truth is, compliance doesn't always equal care. A brother can check every box on that grant report, job placement, housing secured, and still be out here fighting demons. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure out who he is without the stigma or that state number attached to his name. Now, I know what all this feels like. To look like you're winning on paper, but still feel lost inside. We have to ask ourselves, are we transforming lives or just meeting quotas? Next topic, authenticity as the missing piece. Now, what I believe, what I know, is that reentry works best when it's built by the people who lived it. From all the people that I met in this space, they were doing so many amazing things. It was only because in the passion that they put toward it was only because they walked that path. There's a wisdom that comes from surviving the system, from rebuilding your life brick by brick. That's something you can't teach, right? That's got to be in you, not on you, as they say. That wisdom can't be learned in textbooks or policy manuals is what I'm getting at. It comes from the lived experience. But too often, restored citizens are brought into these spaces as mascots, faces of the program, on the fly, the testimonial for the grant report, but never the one shaping the program itself. Authenticity means letting justice impacted people become the architects, not just the clients. It means hiring restored citizens, not as props, but as decision makers. That's the kind of model I'm pushing for, whether it's with my capstone raft or the transportation initiative or some sort, because I know firsthand that the best guide through reentry is someone who's walked that path themselves. Now, take a little break, right? Let me throw out another shout out. Beyond Expectations Barber College, more than a barber school, they're building futures over there. Beyond Expectations Barber College has two locations, serving Akron at 2215 Roman Road in Youngstown, at 2747 Glenwood Ave. Whether you're starting your journey or seeking a fresh career, they're cutting more than hair. They're cutting paths to success. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 5. Check them out. Now, my next segment, Lessons with the Two Ladies. Check us out. All right, girls. Let's say you start a new school and the principal tells you that to fit in, you have to act a certain way. Maybe talk a little different, dress like everyone else, and never mention where you used to go to school. How would that feel?
Weird. Why can't I just be myself? Yeah, what if I like the way I dress already?
Exactly. Now imagine that's what happens to a lot of people when they come home from prison. They're told to follow all these rules to fit back into society, but sometimes those rules make them feel like they have to change who they are just to be accepted. It's a tough balance between proving you can follow the rules and still being your authentic self.
So they have to pretend just to get a second chance?
That's what some people feel like. That's why in reentry, we have to ask, are we helping people become their better selves or just making them act a certain way to be accepted? All right. All right. Next topic, what a new model, this is what I was saying, could look like. Imagine a reentry program where lived experience wasn't just an afterthought. It was the foundation. A model will restore citizens' co-designed services alongside social workers, funders, and community partners, where the data mattered, but so did the stories, where community partnerships played a bigger role. Barbershops, mosques, church, local businesses, all acting as micro hubs of reentry support. That's what I'm trying to build through my capstone raft. A model that reconnects people not just to services, but back to their community. Another topic, you know, what's it gonna take, right? Can't have, can't have an idea without a plan. Okay, so this shift isn't gonna come from the top down. Okay, it's gonna come from the ground up. It's gonna take funders who are willing to listen, humble themselves, right? Not just dictate because you have all the credentials. It's going to take reentry organizations letting go of some of that control and making room for credible messengers in leadership roles. And it's going to take all of us demanding that the people closest to the problem become the closest to the solution. And that's pretty much it. You know, uh, next thing, next up, got a Q&A, got a question from one of our social media platforms, and the question was, uh, how can returning citizens advocate for leadership roles without feeling tokenized? Hmm. The key is leveraging your lived experience as expertise. That's why I like the idea of AI helping you with your LinkedIn profiles. You know, making yourself look like a professional. Basically, it's about knowing your story holds value, not just as inspiration, but as insight. If you're in those rooms, speak up, and if you're not, create your own table. That's what we're doing over here. uh, so, you know, we don't have to choose between compliance and authenticity. We can have both, right? But it's going to take bold voices and new blueprints. If you're listening to this and you're a part of the reentry community, whether you're a program director, a funder, or just trying to rebuild your life, I want to invite you into a conversation like this. Let's rewrite the blueprint together. Now, before we wrap today's episode, before I get out of here, I do want to mention uh, another project that I'm working on with my co-host. So before we wrap this episode up, I just want to take a moment to introduce something new, something powerful. Ever so often, life reminds us that conviction comes in many forms, and so does courage. That's why we're starting a brand new segment right here on Life Beyond Conviction. It's called Wheelchair to Real Power. This segment is dedicated to resilience, not just after incarceration, but after any system, any diagnosis, any moment in life that tried to stop your forward motion. Because when the world tries to reduce you to your limitations, we flip it. We take the chair, we turn it into power. Today, I want to introduce you to someone who's lived that transformation every day. A brother, a fighter, a voice you'll be hearing from real soon. Here's a story from wheelchair to real power.
What's up, everybody out there? Today we have a special guest with us, Paris Saunders. Paris is not only my brother, friend, and college roommate, but also a true inspiration. His spirit is contagious, and he's a living example of how to overcome obstacles and eradicate barriers. Paris's journey has taught us valuable lessons about navigating life in a wheelchair. But it's not just about that. His initiative, Wheelchair to Willpower, will help others along this path. Paris is a true force to be reckoned with, doing more on 3 and 4 wheels than most do standing up. Paris's story is a testament to the power of perseverance and determination. He's a true role model, and we're lucky to have him with us on the show. Thank you, Paris, for sharing your story and inspiring us all. If you've enjoyed this small clip, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more uplifting and inspiring content. Remember, stay positive and keep pushing forward.
So yeah, that's what we're doing over here, y'all. Telling stories that don't just sit still, they move mountains. This is just the beginning of Wheelchair to Real Power. Stay tuned because his journey is about to roll through your speakers in a much bigger way. That's right. Thank you for tuning in to Life Beyond Conviction, where we redefine reentry one story at a time. If this episode sparked something in you, share it with someone walking this journey, a loved one, a brother or a sister trying to find their way home. Until next time, stay grounded, stay building, and remember, there's life beyond conviction. I'm out.